Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, my name is Emma. I am going to be doing my January and February reading wrap-up. I read around 7 books total, I think. It wasn't like a great reading month for me, but it hasn't been a great few months for me, so we're just rocking and rolling. Okay, let's just start with what I had to read for school. So first, The Life of St Marina by Gregory, Bishop of Nyssa. This was written by her older brother, so it's just about her. And then we also read On the Soul by the same dude. Those were both for my medieval philosophy class. Now let's get into reading that I did because I wanted to. So first off, Realmbreaker. Just hit myself in the face with it. By Victoria Aveyard. So this is a fantasy novel, and it's like a new series that she's starting. She wrote the Red Queen series, which I absolutely loved, and I was a little scared of reading this because I was like, what if I don't like it, you know, because it's different. It's not the same thing. But I was a little nervous about that at first, but I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. I had a lot of fun reading it. It was just, the character dynamics in it were really well done, and it was really interesting to read. And I thought the world building was great too, like just the different characters, the different kinds of characters. And yeah, I just really enjoyed it. And I mostly listened to this one through an audiobook from my library, so I don't have a bunch of notes in it. Next up, I finally finished Beautiful World, Where Are You by Sally Rooney. It took me long enough, like just an insane amount of time. And it wasn't for lack of interest, because I really enjoyed the book. Like, just, I don't know why I didn't finish it sooner. I think I've been having a harder time like just sitting down and reading books lately. Yeah, I just had a harder time sitting down, so I've been listening to more audiobooks, but it's sometimes hard to find audiobooks for the books that you want to read, but like you already own them, and so you're like, why don't I just read them? But anyways, couldn't find an audiobook for this one, but greatly enjoyed it. 5 stars. It's so normal and mundane, but not in a boring way, just in an extremely relatable way. Like, you understand what these characters are going through, and like, even if you haven't gone through it yourself, it's described in a way that you can empathize with them. I just really enjoyed it, and I like the descriptions in her writing. I recently had to write a short story for my creative writing class, and like, I love adding in little random details. Like, it's unnecessary, but it pulls you in a certain way, and a lot of that is in here. And someone commented on it that it reminded them of Sally Rooney, and I was like, you guys don't know what you're doing to me. Comparing my writing to Sally Rooney. What? What? I was flattered, to say the least. I really enjoyed it. And I just thought the characters interacted well. I think in pretty much everything I read, I really loved the character interaction. Also, just like a quick little shout out to all the short stories that I've read for my creative writing class. There were some that were published, but also the ones that my fellow classmates wrote. So many of them were so good. Like, literally every single one I read, I was like, damn, okay. Like, I underestimated people. Like, I underestimated myself too. Like, just writing is fun and cool, and reading other people's writing, especially when they're still trying to get the hang of it, is just like really cool. And it's also just getting to have conversations with the author. We get to discuss it because it's a workshop, and we get to be like, were you trying to go for culty vibes, or was it just like normal peppiness? And then it was like, nah, culty vibes. And you're like, got it, okay, cool. I don't just have a warped mind after reading Bunny. What else did I read? So I also listened to Detransition Baby by Tori Peters, and this one was so good. I really enjoyed it. It showed me a side of the trans community that I don't know much about, and it was just really cool to kind of get an inside look into all the interactions and stuff like that, and just the story, how things affect them, and like how they are situated within the LGBTQ community. And just it was good. It was really good. The characters were well written. They each had their own individual voice, and it was easy to like grasp them. And a lot of it is kind of like flashback. A lot of it is kind of just explaining what has happened in the past, and like explaining the backstories of these women and their story of transition and transition to detransition, and like what that entails, not meaning that they don't still feel like a woman, or just it's so complex, and each situation, I imagine, is very unique in its own, because each individual is very unique. But it was just so fascinating to read. And then you get the main plot line, which is this like makeshift family sort of coming together. And it's so interesting. The only thing I didn't like about it was the ending. It was just a little disappointing, or like it left me asking a lot of questions, which is like good because, you know, it just keeps the reader guessing, you know, like it's in your head and stuff like that. But it was unsatisfying, I guess. And I gave that one 4 stars. Next, I read With Teeth by Kristen Arnett. This one was also really good. It's about this woman, Sammy, and she and her wife have a child, and they name him Samson, like after Sammy, because Sammy's the one that birthed him, you know, like, yep, okay. It's kind of about Sammy really examining her child and his behavior. I don't know if she ever calls him this throughout the book, but like he displays a lot of antisocial behavior, and not just in like the colloquial antisocial, like the antisocial personality disorder kind of thing. It's kind of crazy to just see this kid grow up through Sammy's eyes and have her like legit be afraid of her own kid, which is a weird dynamic. And it's also about her relationship with her wife, Monica, I think, and just how they interacted. And it's just a funky story, but it was so good. But again, the ending was pretty unsatisfactory. I think it was all right, and it would have been more satisfactory if it had kept to the same style that the rest of the book was written in. It kind of went for a different style, just a different mode of presentation. And it was a little weird that that's how it ended. I think the same story or like ending could have happened just like with the same narration that was happening throughout the entire book. So that was just one thing where I was kind of like, that was unnecessary, and it just felt kind of weird. But overall, I did really enjoy it. And it was like creepy, but endearing, but like weird. Wacky shit. Wacky shit. And I also gave that one 4 stars. Yeah, so that's everything that I read in the months of January and February, not counting all of the short stories that I read. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you have an amazing time. I'll see you later.